I'm the spokesperson of a mini conference, or maybe a confrontation as you're all about to witness. This is a feminist collective involving some speakers who want to speak about the best way to think about women and gender issues. One is a liberal feminist. Liberals think that men and women are basically the same, with just one minor difference: genitals. Another group's the radical feminist. Feminists who think that
the so-called minor difference is not so minor at all. Genitalia is huge and should be used to celebrate what makes women special.
I need to introduce another speaker, the Marxist socialist. She believes that the problem is money, capital.
I do not just believe, I know it, everybody knows it. The capitalist system is set up to exploit women and the poor.
Everybody has their own way of thinking about women's issues. But we all agree one purpose is what we stand for, and that is to stop the oppression of women. We all aim at the progress of women in a patriarchal society. Take the Womanists, for example. Womanists don't even call themselves feminists, but they believe in all of the things that feminists believe in. However, they expanded themselves to include race and class.
That's right, because women come in various races, class, and colors.
Typical heteronormative behavior here. Let's just forget to mention the oppression that LGBT people face in their daily lives.
I didn't forget you, but it's just you're included in all other issues.
No, my issues are unique and I will be heard.
My job in this feminist theory collective is not to control these women. People wonder why I don't. I don't want to. I like the feminist vitality. Some people call them subversive, some troublemakers, rebellious, interruptive even. But I call them strong, intelligent, full of vitality, passion, energetic. You'll see this as they make their cases directly to you. Please, feminists, come in and make your cases.
Well, since I'm already up here, I might as well begin.
We already agreed on the order. I'm going first.
Fine, then I'll just wait.
My piece is simple. Liberal feminism is a theory that centers on women's equality with men. The Constitution states that all men are created equal, and because men wrote it, they used men to refer to men and women. My point here is that men and women are basically the same and equal as humans. Therefore, like men, women should be allowed by law and custom to uphold their equality by making their own choices to strive to be whatever they want, for themselves and for society. You know, some people think that by nature, women are not as capable as men. This is false. There are men who are capable and women who are capable, just as there are men who are less capable and women who are less capable. It depends on the ability of the individual, the circumstances of the job, and the other opportunities and privileges given to them. Period. I won't pretend that things have been good for women in the past. For centuries, women were excluded from exercising their basic rights. To vote, women fought and won that right, which was invested in men from birth. During the civil rights movement of the 60s, America was faced with the backlash of racial discrimination. We also gain inspiration from that movement and highlight not just the systematic race discrimination, but sex discrimination ingrained in our society. Women were excluded from being leaders in churches, in politics, in the economy, and many other institutions. We liberal feminists think that no person, family, government, custom, or institution should prevent women from striving to be whatever they want to be, from exercising their personal freedom like their male counterparts. Things have changed a lot, but not yet enough so that the struggle isn't still going on. Liberal feminist theory seeks to create a critical thinking about the sameness of humanity so that true equality can be achieved, so that discrimination based on sex and gender will end. If I have succeeded in convincing you that men and women are basically the same, then your guideline in distributing anything for human beings should be equality of opportunity, not discrimination of privilege. Thank you.
There is a question for you. The question is, how can you be so guided by equal opportunity in a system that is based on difference and inequality? I have an answer to that question. It is called a value system. And in one way, I agree with liberal here, but I also have a fundamental disagreement on the question of sameness of women and men. Now, yes, all humans have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 1 mouth, etc., etc. But The difference in genitalia is very significant. One genitalia is valued, while the other is not, yet both perform roles. The female genitalia is used and abused, but not sufficiently valued. Let's take motherhood, for example. Everybody has or has had a mother, so you can all relate to what I'm saying. Who goes into labor and brings the infant into the world?
Mother.
Who cooks and who cleans?
Mother.
Who nurtured that infant?
Mother.
Whose job has no start time nor no end time?
Mother.
Yes, motherhood. It is the foundation. It is useful and it is used. The problem is value. The globe needs a change in its value system. When men go to war and kill a bunch of people, their job is seen as heroic. But when women give birth to life and then nurture that life, their job, it's not even seen as a job. It's not seen as heroic. Why? It is because of male privilege, male supremacy. When you think of valuing a job, not because of the gender or the sex of the individual doing that job, you are thinking the radical way. It is radical because it is against the norm of the patriarchal society that puts men first. Thank you.
This is why I like radical feminism. Their focus on motherhood. Motherhood is indeed supreme in every society. They nurture, cook, clean. And you're right, we act like we do not value them. The reason is not because we are not sensitive. The reason is because of our system. It is a system of inequality, a system based on privilege for some and disadvantage for others. It's a system based on dichotomy. Men go to jobs and get paid. Women stay at home, reproduce, and don't get paid. Cooking, cleaning, and raising children are basic in any society. There will be no tomorrow without women's work at home. But the capitalist system does not value women's work because of the capitalist compensation with money. This is why there must be a reconstruction of the capitalist system. Without reconstruction, women will continue to do most of that housework because of women's traditional role in the home, while men work for the capitalists. We all know that these days women work at home and out there with men. So what do you think? The economic system of the society depends on gender role exploitation. What do I mean? Gender roles and the economic dependence of women is part of the system of exploitation based on gender. Period. And with that, I'm off to go seize the means of production.
Well, Womanist was supposed to go next, but she's late, so I guess we'll move on to Nego-feminism. She's late too, so I suppose we can let LGBTQ go next.
I stand against the oppression of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, undecided, intersex, two-spirit, asexual, and really all forms of gender and sexual minorities, usually referred to as the LGBT community. Society dictates gender roles and gender expectations, and when gender and sexual minorities break these by simply existing, they face some serious social sanctions, including homelessness and potentially being murdered. It also dictates who we should and should not love. Being hetero and cisgender, that is to say not transgender, is required in most countries and expected in others. And even to some extent they're required here in the United States. Otherwise there would not have been over 1,000 instances of hate crimes against LGBT persons last year, and the largest mass shooting in this country would not be one of those. Furthermore, there is a cultural assumption that everyone is straight until proven to be otherwise. And this perpetuates the idea that heterosexuality is natural and correct, when in reality homosexual behavior is seen in over 1,500 animal species, yet homophobia is only seen in one. So now which one seems unnatural?
Yep, get it, girl!
We think that people should be free to love who they want to love, of any sex, race, class, or color. We believe that people should be free to express themselves however they want, and we believe that so-called conversion therapy should be recognized for what it is, a hate crime. LGBT people should be treated as equal for once and for all.
I don't know whether or not to say I'm sorry to be late. I guess that's the politically correct thing to say, I'm sorry to be late. But they left a lot of work for me and I had to keep the ball rolling, otherwise we won't eat. I even made coffee for you all. I was cooking, washing, and cleaning, and I had to finish the work before coming here as I promised. I'm coming from a different place, you know. I'm a womanist. Race matters and class matters in my world.
Yes, it does!
Womanism is based on the oppression of women in terms of gender, race, and class. Let me break it down to what we all can relate to. Look at the media. What if people with the color of your skin were ignored or portrayed negatively in images you see in magazines, TV, and billboards? How would you react? Would you have enough self-esteem to walk with other women whose colors are honored everywhere? Would they see you as the same then? You see, womanism includes all women, not just those who suffer from colorism and racism, but also those who uphold images and stereotypes of gender, race, and class. The womanist demographic is wide and includes many groups of women, not just black women, but Hispanic, Asian, and white women too. How do we as women think about others? Women are oppressed because of gender, and some of us are doubly oppressed because of race, or more oppressed when we add poverty or queerness. You see, womanism is about multiple oppressions, not just gender and race. Thank you.
Preach it, girl! Awesome, awesome. We've come to an end.
Not yet.
Oh! Look who arrived.
My plane from Lagos, Nigeria was delayed in London, and so I missed my connection in New York and Chicago. I'm so jet lagged, so tired. Oh, I'll make my speech short. My name is Nego-feminism. Oh, I'm tired. I am from Nigeria. Women in my country suffer from multiple oppression from traditional African structures, colonialism and post-colonialism, Christianity and Islam, from national constitution and customs. Female oppression is just like a multi-headed bulldozer. How do you engage a multi-headed bulldozer called oppression in order to develop women and their children and win? We engage it from multiple angles. We call it nego-feminism, that is negotiation without ego. You see, the leaders in my country, they have a lot of ego. And so, we remove our own ego and negotiate. How do we negotiate? We persuade, we cajole, we argue, we coax, we flatter, we fight. We use omomo, mother power. You see, all of them love their mothers. So, we win some, we lose some, and the struggle continues. Thank you.
My job is almost done.
Not yet. One more thing. You see, the people in my country, they watch the television and social media, and they know what is going on in America, in Europe, in the whole world, and they want to know something. When I applied for sponsorship to come to this conference, I had a question. You are here. What are we doing about the direction that the world is heading to? Thank you.
Thank you, Nego-feminism, for that question.
It is actually the topic of our next meeting.
We are already working towards it.
Yes, through intersectionality.
True inclusion.
Again, thank you. Nego, LGBTQ, womanism, Marxist, socialist, radical, and liberal. You all made my job easy and enjoyable. I see that, once again, you all have that common goal, and that is to end the oppression of women, their children, and even men. You differ in your approaches, but you all make one strong in your purpose and passion as you join together. Thank you.